Hello, beautiful soul. I'm Vicki Howie of ChakraBoosters.com, the creator of Chakra Boosters Healing Tattoos, as well as CirclingSpace.com. And this is your energy forecast, your astrological energy forecast, that's a mouthful, for 2022. Yay! And Tiffany Harlick is with me here today to give us this report. I'll just be asking the questions I feel you might ask, or the things that are just like making my curiosity go. And I'm going to, Tiffany, first, I just want to welcome you. Thank you for coming to do this. I know it's a lot to take on the year and to follow 2020 and 2021. I know my main thing is like, is it a kinder, gentler?
Right.
I'm just like, ah. So let me just introduce you, and then let's jump in. Let's do what we normally do. So we're going to share with you guys some themes, right? And we got together and felt the things that you just might want to know for the whole year, like the Mercury retrogrades, the eclipses. We're going to look really quickly at the Chinese New Year, the astrology there, because that's really fun. And then we'll just move into some aspects of specific months, right? You're going to do a little bit of month by month telling us what's going on.
Yep.
Okay. All right. That's a lot. You're taking on a lot today. I'm very, very glad I'm over here. Over there. But let's just begin by letting you know a little about Tiffany. She is the owner of Spellbound Publishing and is the author of several books. So you might want to check out any of her books, but you would do that to go to wiseskiescollective.com. And that is also created by Tiffany. And there she has all kinds of great stuff and just anything astrology that you would want. Tiffany's also the creator of an app, an astrological app that shows you the aspects, the kinds of things we're talking about. They can just pop up in your phone, and they can also work on the computer, right? Is that correct? Or is
Yep.
it just phone? Okay, so your phone, your iPad, your computer. So I will leave links below for you to follow to go get that calendar, and you can get ahead of 2022. And also, I just want to share that Tiffany is a psychic as well. She comes from a long line of intuitive psychic energy from her Russian lineage. She's a Texan. She's a beekeeper, a gardener, and a goddess.
Oh,
Just an all around wonderful woman.
thank you.
We love you, Tiffany. Thank you for sharing today. So, welcome. And where do we start with 2022?
Okay. So the thing that we want to start with is just kind of an overall theme. And I have two for us, really. One is the pace. So I know that you don't want like a pace as a theme, but it is because we have been evolving in hurry culture and get it done and rise to the top and be an entrepreneur and make money this way. And, and it's so driven, right? And this is a year where I feel a lot of that astrologically will be unplugging more than we will be plugging in. So one thing is we're in a different pace. So allowing ourselves times to slow down so that, we're not in hurry culture, we're slowing down. That's one of the big themes. Another one is environment. I think environment is going to come into play. You're going to see it in the numerology, the astrology, whether it's your home, your workspace, your garden space, the environment, Mother Earth. I feel like places and spaces and paces are the two things that I want you to be considering throughout the year.
Now, for the pace, we'll be slowing down. For the space, will be what? More respectful, more home, more environmentally friendly. What's with the space part?
The space part, I think that I think it's going to be personal. I think that home needs to be a place you run to, not away from. I think that we need to look at cozy culture, where we're comfortable, where our houses are making us feel cozy. You know what I mean? I feel like there's also the environmental aspect, and that's going to be a personal decision, right? Is this the year that you want to garden and beekeep? Is this the year that you want to eliminate single-use plastics? Is this the year that you finally put your grocery bags in the car instead of getting, like there's just something going to be individual for that. because Mother Nature is going to take care of herself whether we do or not. And so we're going to be willing participants or seeing the repercussions of what happens when we don't, take care of her. So that's the spaces part.
So both of them they match perfectly. We're slowing down and getting more cozy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yes. So I have a couple of predictions and a couple of quickie horoscopes, and we can then look at the numerology. The predictions, I think, that are not necessarily part of the theme. I think that a big thing that we're going to see in the media is going to be restorative justice for Native peoples and plants. Of course, I'm reporting from Texas in the United States, where we're having our Pluto return this year, and I know not everybody is under that sky, but I do think that restorative justice is a theme universally. So restorative justice can happen at the level of peoples, tribal peoples, ancient lands. It can happen just between you and your home. Have you checked in with the elders and the ancients where you live? It can be a bit of like ancestry work, where maybe things were left unsaid or undone. I think we're going to see that in the media. I think we're going to see more about crystal caves and things that are underneath the earth, mining, things like this. I think we're going to continue to see strikes, whether it's worker strikes or at school, but I feel like you'll see the astrology unfold with some of that. And I also feel like we're going to get some tips on like gases, oil and gas is going to be in the media. And I feel like it's going to have to do with the sea and underwater, but we'll see. So those will be some media highlights for you. The quickie horoscope and money, love, and health, with money, it's going to be to diversify. We know that Taurus is in Uranus. We know that things are changing. And so having your money in different baskets, so to speak, is the best possible advice that the astrologers can offer right now. Putting all your eggs in one basket is a bad idea, right? So money, diversify, make money online, keep pivoting with technology, relax, and see what comes to you. So I'm saying pivot, do all these things, but I'm not saying hurry up, you better get it done. I'm saying relax and see what comes to you. Is there a course in crypto that floats through your way? I don't know anything about that.
And I'm taking one. Isn't that funny?
Are you?
I
Yeah.
already signed up. I paid some decent money. I'm taking one the 16th through the 22nd of December to prepare me for the new year. So,
Oh, cool. Yeah, I probably need to get that information. Right? Like it's a way to diversify.
yeah.
So relax and see what comes to you. In love and relationships, I'm going to say stop pushing. So if you feel like you're pushing or forcing or have a sense of urgency, instead, can you wait for emotional clarity and then commit? There are a lot of people getting married right now and moving in and making that next step. And you can see it in the astrology, but I'm just going to say wait for emotional clarity and then go ahead and commit.
So
Um,
this year feels good to you for that, as long as you have that emotional clarity, and it should feel good in your body, and it should be at a pace that is again slow and cozy, like you're feeling okay with it all. Is that correct?
yeah, where they feel like home to you. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then in health, I'm suggesting that we all garden and that we all stock up on herbs for lung health. I do feel like respiratory issues are going to continue. Mars will be retrograde in Gemini, which rules our lungs at the end of the year. And so I will talk about that later, but just the quickie thing on health is stock up on herbs for your lungs, understand breath work, continue your yoga practices, medicine from the garden, food from the garden. That's going to be what keeps you healthy is your local food, right? Not getting food shipped all around.
Fresh, local.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so those are the highlight reel. We can go a little deeper into the numerology here. The numerology to me is like the best part of what we can look forward to. So when you're saying like, please let there be a lighthouse, this is part of that. So 2022, right, makes a
Yeah.
six, makes a 6 universal year. And if you think about the number 6, it looks like a pregnant woman. It looks like there's a belly to it. It looks like there's a maternal the Ma, the great Ma, is here to help us, right? The divine mother.
Nice way to put it. I think of it, of course, the sixth chakra is the third eye, the highest feminine. So again,
Mm-hmm.
it includes the heart and it includes the womb. So I'm just repeating
Yeah.
what you're saying from a different angle in that. And yeah, and on the twos are that sacral. So when it's 2, 2, 2, we're getting that harmony, harmony, cozy, cozy, slow, slow. That's what twos are. So it's kind of the twos inside of the six also have a cool power to them.
Right. There's that little triplet effect too.
Mhm.
So, six is in my numerology practice is about home. So home sweet home, keeping family traditions, creating house rules, changing things up with your feng shui, changing your address numerology, finding a new spiritual home, whether that's a church, a synagogue, a yoga studio, a spiritual home is, I think, going to be as important as your own
Yes.
space and pace. I think we're going to crave more home cooked meals. And so understanding your unique digestion style, not that diet that's been mass marketed out there and this thing you should be doing, like, no, man,
Oh,
no.
man, no, yes, no. I love it, Tiffany. My body just responds when you're saying truth, and it's just been responding so far, so much. It's going, ah, yeah. So none of this fad stuff. Find what you like
Yeah.
and what works
Yeah,
for you, and again, creates that home feeling. That
exactly. I wrote my first cookbook because I wanted to understand like what my mom was making. And I wanted to bring that heritage forward. And so there's a piece of my lens that likes that anyways. But I think this is a year when we're all kind of making our own home cookbooks, you know what I mean? Like here's our 10 favorite things that we like to eat in this house, and here's why. And there's a cute story behind it. And let's have those ingredients on hand is a suggestion.
Yeah, as you say that, it feels like something that might carry us through the other problematic parts in the year. Really coming into the slow, coming into the cozy, coming into the food that we love and the home environment. That to me feels like all preparation for that which we can't control or that which is happening in the larger sphere. So
Yeah. Yeah,
nice.
you nailed it. Like that's what I wasn't saying. That's exactly it. This is our anchor in the storm, right? So the sixth, that really helps us. And I know that you understand Chinese New Year energy. So I can't wait to hear what your take is on that and when that shifts.
Well, I don't understand Chinese New Year so much, but I love translating it into the chakras because this is a chakra channel. And so we're
Okay.
talking, and what's so cool is they don't just say year of the tiger. Because when they say year of the tiger, which by the way, you guys, that's what it is, it's the year of the tiger. It sounds exciting, doesn't it? And the year of the tiger, but that's right away solar plex. Big cats are solar plexus chakra all the way. It's a
Hmm.
power energy, but cats also have a very like felines in the house have a very sacral energy, and it's a water tiger year. So we're talking about very much a year when we can heal some of the things that were coming up. They might show up too as injuries, but we can heal this Me Too energy, the sexuality of the feminine surrender to the masculine penetration. The solar plexus goes for it and has a bit of an aggressive energy. And think of that in the positive sense. It's proactive. And that's the tiger aspect. But then there's the cat and the water. Okay. The water aspect is surrendering, easygoing. It's just very feminine in its nature, very receiving. So we have these two energies, got fire and water. And when you put them together, you get steam and you
Same.
get passion when used in the best case. And so even just thinking of, it's hard to think of a tiger and not think of some passion, some movement, but the tiger's flexible, right? So you guys, what I'm trying to say is according to the astrology, of course, we're going to get a lot more of the Western astrology from Tiffany, but according to just the year, the Chinese astrology, we're talking very clearly a solar sacral year to get your passion on. I'm glad you said about the getting
Spiritualism.
relationships going right.
Yeah.
Steady, take them because sometimes passion moves too quick or makes so this also goes with that. But it's not just passion in relationship, it's passion in anything and using both your penetrative proactive self and your surrendered self to listen. Take a move, correct. Take a move, correct. Like be like a cat, be flexible. That's what I get out of it for
I
this
love
year.
that. I had this dream about a tiger the other night, and it's weird, and I won't go into it, but it's like I lost my tiger, and the whole dream was and it was a baby tiger. It was little, and then somebody found it, and I was like, oh, thank God. But then when I got it, it wasn't my tiger. And like the whole dream, and you look it up, and tiger being power and losing your
Yes.
power and coming back, and
Yeah.
and it being different,
Somebody else to
So
take your power. You know what? It speaks to me really quickly. I just want to say,
yeah.
but when you said it was my little one, I went, okay, so we get our first solar plexus kick at 3 years old. So I thought maybe something happened then. Can even just be a perception of I can't do it myself. Someone's making me do it their way. And you feel like you're losing power. But when you got it back and you said it wasn't your power, it can either be someone trying to have power over you, but it also could be that you're healing that. So now it's a different kind of power. It's not the old power. It's
Yeah,
now coming from your true self. And so
it makes sense.
different ways you can look at it, right? But I love
Thank
how
you.
that's so cute, a tiger dream. Great.
I know, my little baby. Uh,
My baby.
Okay, yeah. So the tiger in the water, maybe even that's part of your art that you bring into your space this year. Some beautiful imagery was
Oh, I
coming up.
just thought about when my goddaughter was going through she was going from her 14th year to her 15th. She was going from her sacral to her solar plexus. She drew a picture, and you guys, it's in my book. And she literally had no, I don't know why, but she drew a lion coming. Maybe I'll try to insert it here if I can get it out of the book. She
Oh,
drew
cool.
a lion coming out of the ocean, like a lion
Oh,
coming out of the water. So I'm going to try to drop that in here if I can. It's in just pencil, but it's so cool. Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. Okay. Let's talk about we want to give you guys the eclipses, the hot hits on the eclipses, and we want to talk about Mercury retrograde period cycles. So if that's what you're here for, if you're wanting these dates, right? We want to talk about the eclipses first. These eclipses, the nodes are shifting in 2022. And so that means that our eclipse axis are shifting in 2022.
Is that
So
is that mid-January that usually happens? Like when is that?
well, it's an 18-month cycle. So this year it happens in January.
Okay.
But the eclipses are going to be filtered or sprinkled through the spring and the fall. Okay, and that's normal, eclipse season. So these eclipses are going to be in Taurus and Scorpio. So first of all, we just know that this is going to affect the fixed signs more strongly. Now, everybody's individual and there's different things at play, but if you are a Scorpio, a Taurus, an Aquarius, a Leo, right? This might be a really pivotal part of your life journey. The last eclipses were in Gemini Sag, right? That was more of an educational learning pole. Taurus and Scorpio are more of that sensual, earthy body, power play, money, values, things changing.
And deep, right? Like deep.
Deep.
This isn't
Yeah.
superficial level change.
No. And it's fixed. It's very committed. And so this might be a pivotal year looking at these eclipses with what you are committing to. This is long-term goals, right? So the first one is April 30th. It's a solar eclipse at 10 degrees of Taurus. What's interesting is not only the eclipse, so the eclipse, right? We're feeling like there's 100 days in 24 hours. There's a lot of things at play.
That's what we should experience. 100 days of time. That's a good way to put it. Okay.
Mhm.
It's intense, is what we're
So it's
saying.
already intense. But
Yeah.
then what's going on in the background is that there's an exalted Venus exactly right next to Jupiter. So in Pisces, we've got Venus and Jupiter, and then we've got the eclipse in Taurus. And so I feel like that is a great time in terms of your finances coming to fruition. I feel like this is the best eclipse of the year. I feel like it's a positive turn. I feel like it's a great time also to plant seeds. So if you think about Uranus is also in Taurus where this eclipse is happening. And so like in me, I'm like, okay, what quirky heirloom seeds can I plant that are going to come to fruition around the end of April, April 30th, May 1st, depending on what time zone you're in. So knowing these, you can plan ahead for fun stuff like that. Will that be in the market? Will it be more interesting to buy purple tomatoes this year? You know what I mean? You're going to notice that there's a quirkiness to it. But we've got Venus and Jupiter in Pisces next to each other with that eclipse. I feel like it's a positive financial one. Now, May 16th, the eclipse happens in 25 degrees of Scorpio. So if you have 25 degrees in any of the fixed signs, you're going to really feel this one. This is a very heated one. Mercury is retrograde during this one in Gemini, it's May is a heated month. It's probably the most heated month of the whole year. So having an eclipse in Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars and Pluto, and knowing that Mars and Pluto are having their own kind of dynamics going on in the skies, I feel like this one is going to be more intense, more fiery, more tight, more abrupt. Whereas the one before felt like the earth goddess exploding with fertility, right?
So this
This
one's more
one,
like this. The first one's more like this, and this one's like this.
yeah,
There's a
what
cut
it feels
there.
like. Yes. Yeah. And
Mm.
it is a very focused, cutting, precise
Mhm.
move, you
I was
know.
going to ask you that because you always give us days that are the best and the worst. And I got a sense you were going to tell me May was the caution month, or out of the
And
whole year, if we had to pick a month, May would be the month to keep your awareness up.
that's right. May Day this year. May Day.
Mayday, 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 US. And then April, do you feel like what do you have a feeling of really clear candidate for the best month?
I would also agree with April because Jupiter is conjunct Neptune, and that's when culture changes. You know, that's when things, and I'll talk about that part later. But April, good. May, bad.
You always say, I don't like it when things, a lot of people tell me, I don't like it when things get too good because I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I'm
Mhm.
like, uh-oh, it's set up that way this year. So just be aware, take what take the harvest from April and then really be strong and aware in May. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, we'll just be totally prepared.
Yeah.
Um, Now, the last two eclipses are October 25th in 2 degrees of Scorpio. This also aligns with Venus. Mars will have just passed a square to Neptune. That will create a grand trine in air. Mercury will be in Libra. Saturn and Vesta will be in Aquarius. Mars will be in Gemini. Mars will again go retrograde later. This one also just feels sticky and difficult and unknown. And it's like we don't know what we don't know. And so I feel like those two, the Scorpio ones, I feel like are something we can't plan on, we can't prepare, but it will be a pivotal time when looking back, that's when everything changed. You know, that's when that started. That's when that cycle was created. So there's some unknown in those two. The last one is November 8th. It's in 16 degrees of Taurus. And I feel like, okay, Saturn is going to be squaring that eclipse. Mars will be retrograde at that time. That also looks very difficult. And I feel like we're going to be facing kind of the music. It's like, if you think about all year long, we've been making a vinaigrette and it's been kind of fun. It's like, oh, January, we're putting the oil together, and February, we're kind of adding some spices, and it's like shaken up and it feels good. And then all of a sudden, it's like all of the vinaigrette pieces are starting to settle in November. And we're not so sure we got the right flavors in there. You know what I mean?
Back out. We can't come out
Yeah,
there.
you're in it, right? Um, so just being aware that that too is a tense time, and that we will continue to change and evolve, but we're going to be facing a lot of things that have been shaken up by November
And
in that eclipse.
when you got to the second one, for some reason, second Scorpio lunation there, when you were talking about the eclipse, I got the feeling again back to that cozy. Even hearing you say Saturn and Vesta, I just got that feeling again of how important home's going to be, and being cozy and being grounded and having something in the storm, as you said before. It just feels really good, real important.
Yeah, and having your homes set up in a way that you can be self-sufficient if needed, right?
Okay.
So I have lots of ideas for that. But I'm sure everybody knows how to create a self-sufficient lifestyle and home when needed. If you needed to unplug for a week or two, that you could be okay. So Mercury retrograde, those periods, for those of you guys that really want to talk about Mercury retrograde this year, they're happening in air and earth signs. So air and earth. So this is the opposite of our water lily, water tiger, right? This is different vibes. When Mercury retrogrades in the air, we're rethinking things. When it retrogrades in the earth, we're reconfiguring things. We're digging stuff up, we're
Literally
unearthing.
doing physical changes when it's doing that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about it in one mode and then we're doing it in the other mode.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to know.
Yeah, yeah. And
So what
changing
are
your mind.
so what are the dates for the four? Well, yeah, that's what it's for, right? To
Mhm.
revisit and re until things shift.
That's right. Yes. So the first one is January 14th to February 3rd. It'll happen in Aquarius and Capricorn. The second one is May 10th to June 2nd. That'll happen in Gemini and Taurus. The third is September 9th to October 2nd, and that'll happen in Libra and in Virgo. And the last one is December 29th. It goes into January 18th of 2023, and that one's just in Capricorn. But you can see all of those are Earth and air continuums. So we're at the point where I like to do a little planetary overview and then go into the month by month. Does that work for you?
Perfect. I'm with you all along. Thank you for all of that. Thank you for the eclipses. Thank you for the Mercury retrogrades, for the Chinese astrology, everything. So, and numerology. So we're ready for the months.
Okay, so right before we get into the months, I'm going to do a quick planetary overview so that you have the lay of the land.
Yep.
This is just the bullet points, right? So the nodes are shifting into Taurus and Scorpio, embracing what is instead of what could be. We're being real, self-care, financial integrity. Mercury, Mars, and Venus will retrograde. All three of them will retrograde in air and earth signs like we were talking about. So this year, plenty of room.
Venus.
Mercury, Mars, and Venus, all
Okay,
of
so all
their
the coastal
retrograde
planets.
cycles,
Okay.
all of those cycles, when those three retrograde in 2022, it'll be in air and earth. And
Okay.
so I want everybody to have lots of room to reconsider, rework ideas. We're learning through experience. This is a trial and error year because we want to make sure that the foundation is right. So, it's going to take some messing around and finding out, basically. Jupiter will dip into Pisces and then move into Aries. And I'm like, all of the astrology columns are like, Jupiter and Pisces, wow, and I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of on board with that. But it's like that. What I like about it is that there's hope and there's innocence,
Yeah.
and that is so needed. There's an Anne Lamott quote that she says, hope is something in the darkness. Hope is found in the darkness, seated in the darkness. And that's how I feel about it more. Because Jupiter will move into Aries, and that feels more like fireball to me.
Yeah,
So,
Jupiter. That's like when fires happen and stuff sometimes, like
yeah.
ones and uncontainable stuff because Jupiter expands things. Yeah.
Yes, it's very combustible, spontaneous, type of an energy that I'm like, okay, we can be excited about that little bit, but let's not lose sight of the whole picture is all.
Yeah.
Saturn is going to stay in Aquarius all year. It's been there. It's slow progress in science, technology, robots, space, through 2023. Uranus also in Taurus all year through 2025. Uranus shaking up Taurus, money,
Taurus,
food.
yeah. And Earth herself, really just the earthy aspect of our life, right? And the pleasures of it, the money around it, yeah.
The terrain itself is changing. The borders are changing. There's, the food sources are changing. We like to have a variety of things. So we're talking about diversifying in food and finances, right? How do you diversify in food? You have different stuff on hand. You can have fresh food from your garden. You can have frozen food. You can have dried food. You can have, what's the other one? Fresh, frozen, and dried. I guess.
Fresh, frozen, dried. You
And
have
like your perishable stuff, right? Beans, peanut butters, veggie stock, right? Stuff like that. So having a diverse thing. So if you're only in one of those departments, what else could you use to flourish? Neptune is going to stay in Pisces through 2025. We don't know what we don't know. We're just in a mystery zone right now. And it's so cute that we think we can predict some things.
well, we're trying to here. It never hurts. It's part of human nature to try, right? But
Yes. Yeah. And then Pluto stays in Capricorn. It will move into Aquarius in 2023. But this is the last year of that Pluto in Capricorn. And so there's always a lot of resistance, a lot of sense of urgency whenever a planet is moving into a new sign. And so I feel like kind of what's being challenged is that old guard. And that's very reflective as we see in the chart of the United States, where they're having a Pluto return. Now, before we go into the month by month, I want to just let you guys know if you're 18, if you're 37, if you're 55, or if you're 74 this year, you're going to have your nodal return. So you're going to have a good year no matter what's going on in the world.
nodal return.
And so it's like that wheel of fate spins in your favor. And if you think about that freshness of being 18, you know, that it's like kind of that first time in your life where you're really making your own decisions and calling the shots and seeing what's out there. And it's a fertile world. Like, you're, for the most part, you're pretty excited to be alive and try that next thing. Maybe it's scary, maybe it's fun, but it's that freshness that you guys experiencing your nodal returns this year will feel. And so you don't have to worry about any of the astrology or the numerology. You're just having the best year that you can. It's like your prime state. You know, this is your year. This is your chance. This is a good time to be you. So I wanted to put that in there. And then I'm ready to just kind of talk about January here. The big thing about January, like we're going to have that January through April is our momentum, right? And that momentum is spurred when the nodes shift in January. They'll be in Taurus and Scorpio for 18 months, the North Node in Taurus. So what we're reaching for is very Taurian, very stuff that happens methodically, stuff with food, stuff with our physical vitality, our bodies, our sacred space, you know, turning towards that, embracing what's real and letting go of the unknown, Scorpio, the tail of the dragon, right? Our self-care having to do with our financial honesty and integrity. We're not trading love for money anymore. That's not an option, right? Venus is retrograde at this time of year. There's an awareness for what does and doesn't work. There's a desire for things to just like be stable, right? That makes a lot of sense. But one way I like to think about the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio are Stevie Nicks. You know, I mean, she's like this cool Earth Mama rocker where she's like the magician and the sorceress, but you know she's got some kind of cool crystal setup in her background. And you know, I mean, I feel like if you can tap into your inner Stevie Nicks this year, anytime something is like this, that's going to be your little, you
That
know,
just makes me laugh. There's got to be a lot of truth in that whenever I get joy like that. Inner Stevie Nicks, you guys. Okay, I love it.
right? And that earthiness to her is what I like. Like everything's going to
No,
be
you
fun.
even, as you're saying that, I'm going, okay, well, I could just even play her music to kind of bring it in. And then I went, yeah, that earthiness is even in her voice. You know,
Yeah,
the
right?
gravel to her voice and stuff like that. It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Stevie Nicks, like Bonnie Raitt, I think of as
Yes.
somebody that's very like she
Yes,
can
it's a little more chill. Like Bonnie might be for the cozy home stuff, and Stevie might be when you need a little more of that tiger, the water tiger or something. They're both great.
right. Okay, and the North Node in Taurus, the last thing I want to say about January is again defining what type of Earth steward you want to be this year. You know, do you want to focus on the oceans? Do you want to focus on myco remediation through mushrooms in the earth? Like, what is your little thing? What could you contribute this year? That the North Node is in the sign of the Earth Mother too. In February, there's a really cool window here. So swooshing into February, it feels different. It feels fresh. You know, January 1st, we've got the sun sextiling Uranus. It feels like a new year. We got a new moon on the 2nd. It feels like a new month.
In
In,
January.
in January. And then in February, same thing. We've got a new moon on February 1st. It still feels like fresh and vibrant and different. The new moon is in Aquarius on that day. And then Jupiter is going to sextile Uranus that month and around the 18th. You're going to feel it all month. So February, big windows of opportunity, big windows of creativity, resolutions, solutions coming from unexpected places. It's almost like you applied for a grant and won it. And you're like, what? You know?
I
And
didn't
so I
plan for
want,
that part. I just applied.
that's right. And I want you guys to be thinking about like if I was gifted $25,000, what would I do with that? You know, and it's not, and it's so that when you see the opportunities out there, you can apply with clarity, right? If that's part of your path. Um, so just knowing it's a go big or go home. February in 2022 is an 8 month.
Yeah.
It's a 6 year, but that month is that like rolling of the dice, right? That go big or go home. Okay, so I again acknowledge we're
Pretty good
talking.
month, right? February
Huh?
sounds like a pretty good month.
Yeah,
February. Like
it
what
does.
it could be close to April in its kindness or gentleness or what?
Well, I just think it's more exhilarating in its flavor. It's like
Okay.
a good time to be alive. Big money, big solutions, big wins,
Okay.
eyes wide open, like that feeling of excitement and hope. Now, the United States is starting their Pluto return here.
Mm.
And I want to note that the Dust Bowl of the 30s in the States started at the half return in the 30s. So when
Okay.
I'm talking about gardening, it's not because I'm super cute in my bee world. It's because like really there's some serious implications that we're answering for. So knowing that in February, I don't think that we're going to see it until July and December, but knowing that something's stirring here behind the scenes. So we're looking for the opportunities because there's a big window to really shift things, and we can shift them for the better. Um, so, yes. Now, March, not a lot of good astrological data going on. So, looking into April, what's happening is that Jupiter is going to conjunct Neptune in Pisces. It'll happen on April 12th. So, again, you're going to feel it all of February, March, April. What that is,
As they're moving closer, you're saying.
as they're getting closer and closer together, and then they'll kiss on the April 12th and they'll start going further apart. What we're magnifying, Jupiter, is all Neptune things. So you could say we don't know what we don't know. We're magnifying the unknown. You could say that there's some yoga teachers that are in the spotlight. But what you see culturally across the globe is that moment that the art shifts from pointillism to tie-dye. The music shifts from the 70s to the 80s.
Oh,
It's,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's like a renaissance for artists. And so it's the beginning of a 13-year cycle in that little realm, big realm. This can be a time when somebody writes the next great novel for their country, or their tribe is debuted on the world stage for this beautiful like ritual that they do and can teach others. It's something where something in the culture that is different is magnified, and then it shifts how we see everything. In May, this is one of the biggest caution months that we alluded to earlier. I feel like we're approaching some burnout, some confusion, some wishy-washy, some uncertainty, and May is not going to be a month to push it. So if you're a big planner like I am, and you're like, oh, when is the best time to go on our family vacation? I don't know that I would pick May. When is the best time to start a new business? I'm not really sure I would pick May. Because what's going on in May 10th, Mercury will retrograde. We're going to change our minds. We're going to kick the tires. We're going to have a different perspective organically. And that's correct. It's not incorrect, right? Now, also on that day is when Jupiter is going to move into Aries, and it feels like that fireball is lit, like the gasoline has been poured, and next, we've got that eclipse in Scorpio on May 16th. It's squaring Saturn, also in a fixed sign of Aquarius. It feels like heavy, heavy friction. It feels very fiery to me. On the 17th, Saturn will semi-sextile Neptune. This is Aquarius and Pisces kind of going like clashing.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're going to be completely sidetracked. I feel like we're going to be like, squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. Why am I here? What? I feel like it's going to be that.
So it could be distracted feeling plus combustible plus,
Yes,
like that's enough right there, actually.
that's enough. And yet,
And of
on the
course, we're actually we're questioning things and rethinking them and redoing them. So yeah, it does feel very.
it feels very sticky and inflammable. And on the 18th, to kind of put the nail in the proverbial coffin there, Mars is going to conjunct Neptune in Pisces, right? Mars invades, Neptune blends the lines. Like we don't, I just feel like our territorial lines as states, as cities, as communities, as families, as whatever, I feel like those are going to be blurry and shifting, and it's probably going to be uncomfortable. So if we're uncomfortable, it's okay. it's a symptom that we're growing, right? And so can we keep the peace? Can we keep our cozy? Can we keep our inner Stevie Nicks like on repeat, right?
Nicks. Who was the other one? Bonnie Raitt.
Funny, right?
Or Stevie Nicks, depending on
Yeah.
the. And so it's kind of Mars is going into Pisces Neptune's territory, right? It's like if these were two teams playing, because they are on opposite teams, right? They're going to play at the home field of confusion, correct?
I love the way you put that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we're on the home team of the home team here is confusion. So if we're rooting for Mars in action, we're at a disadvantage a little because we're over on their team.
Yeah, and maybe we're not even playing the same game, and maybe they feel the goals shift mid round, and it's
Now you're
that like,
talking Neptune. Now you're talking, yeah. So maybe,
yeah,
maybe anything could be happening. Okay.
yeah,
Whew.
yeah. So now
It gets better, right?
now now it continues. So that I would say is very heated for everybody all around. In July, I have to mention
So
that I
what's June?
feel
June's just pretty like kind of
we're
ghosting.
just kind of in the hangover period of what just happened.
Good answer. Okay. And then July, because we're, as you know, we will give you monthly forecasts for these two as well. We're just giving an overview for the months right now.
Yeah, yes, and a flavor, right?
Flavor.
Um, so in July is when the US has their second Pluto return, and this is the second of three. It happens on July 11th. During that time, Saturn is retrograde and is piercing the moon of the United States. So the people of the United States are like they're not wanting to be duped anymore. They want to get off of that confusion home field we were just talking about, and they want to take their power back, really. Uh, that's going on in the US, and it's going to make world history. This is the turning of a nation, and it's really starting to amp up and rev up in July. And so, how does that affect all of us collectively across the globe? I feel like there's going to be some shifts in the supply chain. I feel like different deals, different alliances, things that we used to trade with aren't tradable anymore. And so being aware that that might be a thing. Mars is going to conjunct Uranus that month. You know, that's explosions, that's disruptions, that's forest fires, that's droughts. And so where are our Earth stewards, right? Like, how can we help, basically? If you now, there are many astrologers that do study Pluto returns and the effect globally. But if you can think about it, like the Roman Empire fell during their second return. So this is where we are. So the Roman Empire fell. The United States now, are they going to fall? Is it going to crumble completely? I don't know. But it is going to be is things still breaking down. This feeling of upheaval is still there. Like, we're not there yet, and the finish line keeps moving, kind of a feeling. But if you think about how history was changed with the Roman Empire, it's not so bad that things are changing. It's just uncomfortable. So we're going onward through the fog, through the rest of the summer, all of us. And it does feel just like a heated, hot, like the accidents that happen feel very fiery. And
I'm just curious, what's a Pluto? How long is a Pluto return? Because we're talking about lots of years. Like you're going
yes,
back to the birth of the country, and this is only the second return.
well, this is our first return.
This is
It's
our
200.
first return, so it's 200 and
It's 250 years
wow,
ish.
wow.
And so it will hit exact 3 times in 2022. And so the first one was in February. We probably won't feel too much of a thing.
Okay,
July, we're going to feel it.
okay.
December, we're going to feel it and see
Because
it.
of what's going on in those months along with it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I can feel what
Yes.
you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
July has that combustibility again of the Mars. July is the Mars Uranus going on.
Mars, Uranus, and then also the Saturn is going to be pressing on the moon of the United States.
Okay.
So everybody's emotions are like, we're fed up, we've had enough, we're not having this, and we're not going to be lied to. Things that were hidden are going to be exposed, and there'll be that judgment card. There'll be that kind of trial period, and it's not going to clear up in July, right?
Right,
So
right. You're saying it's just really just starting. It started in February, but it's really, really light, and then it's really
yeah,
gonna something's gonna come up in July, and then it's gonna keep moving.
yeah, that's what I understand.
Okay.
Um, Now, so that'll also carry us through August, like those disruptions, right? There are going to be light points. We're going to have new moons, guys. We're going to have full moons. Like, it's going to be okay. But we do want to be aware of those hot spots. And I just want to say again, January through April, hope, opportunity, fluffy, green, pink, crystals. The rest of the year feels like a bit of a nosedive. And
Okay.
so we're here in that zone. Um, the Scorpio eclipse on the 25th that we talked about, Scorpio was ruled by Mars and Pluto. Mars is going to go retrograde on October 30th for the rest of the year. That's Mars retrograde all of the rest of the year. In Gemini, where we're already combative, people are already like your opinion and my opinion. There's not a lot of like, let's come together and kumbaya feeling, it's I'm right and you're wrong. Like there's a combative nature to it.
Yeah.
So, and Mars retrograde is very, very agitated. I feel like there's going to be delays and strikes. I also feel like there's going to be breakthroughs. So breakthroughs in what? I feel like maybe there will be spikes or new understanding in terms of health and healthcare. And I'll just leave that there. But people are going to be changing their minds about public health, about public schools, and that's going to be very natural and questioned for the rest of the year. I would be shocked if we didn't see an uptrend in homeschooling for many reasons. Self-paced, self-sustained schooling. So by the third pass of that U.S. Pluto return, it's happening in December, and this really is an end of an era. So hope begins in the dark, that Anne Lamott quote. So we want to acknowledge that at that point, the economy has changed. The alliances have shifted. The earth is healing. And Pluto itself rules the underworld, rules hazardous waste. It rules the government. It rules sex crimes. So you're talking about like this healing the Me Too thing. Yeah, big time, in a big way. And I feel like the justice card is going to be coming into play towards the end of the year. So we really just want to pace ourselves, right? New paces, new spaces. We want to make sure that our home is a place where we can feel really good, and where we can have that inner rock star goddess of our choice on and repeat in the jukebox in our heads.
For men and women, I just want to say, men, we're not forgetting you. You have an inner Stevie Nicks as well.
And I want to hear it. All right. And so that really brings us through to the end of the year. We're just going to be settling after the vinaigrette is settling, and I've got some cards if you wanted to
Let's do a card for each for the first half and second half of the year. Do you feel, and I'm also going to bring my puppy in because I think he's been napping again, but everyone likes to see him. Are you saying you feel December sounds calmer then? There's more settling back again, or what would you name December?
I would name December as hope begins in the dark. At that point, there's going to be so much that has shifted. I feel like we could make a better prediction about December after July.
Yeah.
But I feel like people are seeing more clearly that we're not playing on that confusion home field, that we're like, oh, I'm not going to even play in that game anymore. I think that people will be moving countries here and there. I think that they will, all kinds of border boundary stuff is what's going to be shuffled. And so by the time that happens again in December, I feel like, okay, yeah, we're just reorienting to a new pace in a new space. And the slower we go, the less anybody's going to get hurt, right?
That's so interesting. Well, let me grab the little guy so everyone can see.
Yeah. Okay, get him Bodhi. And I'm just shuffling. And we're getting some clarity for the first half of the year, just an extra layer of information, advice, or guidance for everybody watching. That's part of the Chakra Boosters.
Oh, good. How was your nap, huh?
He's such a cute little puppy.
Yeah. How was it? So what do we have for the first half of
All right. So for the first half, let's just clear for Chakra Boosters audience. What is it that we need to understand, an extra layer of information? Ooh, advice or guidance. All right, we get the King of Wands. All right, so the King of Wands, this is really about personal power, understanding your inner Pluto. Where is Pluto in your birth chart? You can understand it that way. Our inner Pluto, our Pluto in the skies is in Capricorn. And so this King of Wands to me is speaking about personal power, personal responsibility. And the King of Wands, he is in action. He is moving forward. This is not a year to give up or fold or completely be behind the scenes doing absolutely nothing. You
Mhm.
know, yes, we need to rest and go slow, but there's this like slow, steady advancement. So doing the next right thing, not the next thing right. Being aware of your personal power, of how what you say affects other people, you know.
Yeah. 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 So,
Okay,
how do you feel about that? About the King of Wands? So that is good. It is about. It fits with but to me, fits with the water tiger really well.
good point. Yeah, I feel like it's very confident energy, you know, and so I think that that's a great place to be.
Yeah.
It's not the childish energy. It's not the
Well,
um,
the swords to me is the confidence of power of masculine, like solar plexus, and this is brings in the wands is kind of that sweet middle. Timmy, are you? It's that he just loves to bite everything. It's like I gotta watch my fingers all the time. Hey guy, he's like, let me have.
little Brody.
Okay, say your byes. I'm gonna let you play down. So if you guys hear little claws on the floor, that's him. He's playing with
Sweet.
his little guy.
All right, and for the second half, I get the card. This card is the Magician, and so the Magician, you know, he is
So
usually
that's
has
so much what you were talking about, right? Like the unknown and the dark, but this gives me a little hope around it.
me too.
When you have the power of the magician, then the mystery is in your favor in a way.
I like that. Yeah. In fact, we should title one of the videos that the mystery is in your favor. You know, don't lose sight that of your faith, you know. The magician has all of the tools, all of the resources, and the ability to change any situation, water into wine, lead into gold, right? The magician usually is has the picture of the figure eight symbol above his head
Mhm,
and usually has one hand up and one hand down. And
mhm.
it reminds me as above, so below. So I don't want you to be swayed by any negative astrology. I want you to keep your eye on the prize, keep your faith, keep your vision. You know, this is a fascinating time to be alive. And here we are together. All right.
Mhm.
So I don't want it to be like false toxic positivity. Everything's fine when it's not. It's not that. It's just like,
There's going to be some discomfort. Things are shifting, but we also have a wand too. The
that's
magician
right.
has a wand. We got the king of wands, and then that's what a magician usually has. Is they're usually doing spells or having, yeah. So
Exactly. That's right. Um,
that feels good.
there's a sweetness to the magician too, and there's a mercurialness to it. And
There's
so
alchemy, like you were saying, you can turn it into anything you want. Like
anything you want, you know,
alchemy.
anything you want. This is a very fertile year. That six, that pregnancy, that
Mhm.
feeling of creation, that 1+1 = 3. I remember one time I was working at a Bonnie Raitt concert, and it
Going
was
full circle now. We're back to Bonnie Raitt again. Okay.
I was like 19 or 20
Right on.
in here in Austin, and the whole she was recording I think Austin City Limits, and it was this like there was this just vibe in the room, and nobody was loosened up. I mean, it was just not. It was so off, and it was so weird. And she got on the stage, and she just King of Wand magicianed it. She just was like, we're gonna loosen it up in here, you know? And she like gets her bass going, and then everybody eases into it, and it's like, you know, and it just changed everything. One person deciding,
Yes.
nah, you know, we're not gonna do it like this. We're gonna do it like this. And just
Oh,
finding your own rhythm here, right? Like what
yes.
a powerful way to move a crowd, right?
And the way you just started moving your body with the bass rhythm, I was like, well, the bass is that cozy home again. It is
Mm,
that we need to stay with the bass. What's our bass? You know, and if we
yeah.
come from that place, we're going to bring other people in resonance. Because if you have one clock that's really holding a good bass note and it's ticking, it will start to draw the other clocks into that, the
Mm-hmm.
larger clock, you know. So I just resonance feels important. I'm glad you brought that story up. And
And home base, like you're talking about, like I like that together too.
the play of the words,
Mhm.
exactly. Because you were talking about bass, the bass, but bass puts on a very low, it's a root chakra sound, and home is a root chakra concept, and home base. There we go again. So you guys play with all this linguistic stuff that's been coming up and all the full circle stuff. It's sounds like we've got some real challenges, some real mysteries. We got a lot more change coming. Won't be quite as, what is it? What's the word when someone just comes out of like hit out of the blue by this? Because I mean, it's been tough the last couple years, and we're starting to understand, that there's a lot of change going on. And so it feels like now maybe we can pull out our wands and be both the king of wands, and hold our own power, decide what we want to create, use those first few months of the year to really get on that page so we can carry some resonance, some alchemy, some sweet home base
Right.
for the rest of the year to sustain us through the more challenging aspects. That's what I get out of all this that you
Oh,
share.
totally. I mean, you think about like a couple of years ago, nobody would be allowed to work from home. And now the workforce is working from home just fine,
Yeah.
maybe even more efficient,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so the changes, just because they're different, uh, that can work in your favor, right? And so all year long, you're going to be asking yourself, what is a compatible life choice for me? And that's kind of
Compatible life choice for me.
mhm. Is this a compatible life choice for me? And then listen, get
Yeah.
your yes or your no. And
By compatible, you mean compatible with my deeper values, what I like, what I enjoy, all
yeah,
that stuff. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're going to stay in alignment with your King of Wands and your magician that way.
Yes. Thank you so much, Tiffany. I can't believe you did all of this. And I can't believe how much it came full circle and it all made sense. It didn't feel random. It feels like a 1 year forecast. And I feel a lot more equipped for it
Good. I'm so glad. Yes. I love taking a look at a year in advance. It seems like we are just too short when we're just in a month.
now.
But this like zoom out, guys,
Yeah.
is so helpful. So as we're watching the waves this year, we have this kind of to go back to and refer to.
Great, great. And we will still be doing the January soon. So
Yeah.
I look for that one, you guys. Enjoy this one. Mark your calendar or go over, better yet, go over, get Tiffany's very affordable app where you can just have her literally working along with you for the entire year. The link will be below. Okay, for that. And thank you, Tiffany. I will see you on the January one. And bye for now. Thank you all for joining us. See you in the next video.